The Niners are the 3 seed, but it's starting to look like they're the best team in the NFC, even if they are the 3 seed. How do you rank the contenders in the NFC?
You actually got to catch a good part of that Cowboys Eagles game. The Cowboys kind of won that convincingly. It was just like I think Dak threw a pick six that pretty much spotted them, like the extra points, and Dallas' defense hasn't been as elite as it's been in the last several weeks. Gardner wasn't bad at all. He was fine. He was like we said last week. I was like, they can get scraped by the last few games with Gardner, but they did lose that game, which is I thought it was definitely on the table. And now you're going to face the Saints, which I think the Niners right now with what they're looking at with Purdy and everything, that the fact that Purdy utilizes all the open receivers, especially down the field, that Kyle Shanahan's scheming up and dialing up, that it's hard not to argue that they are number one. I saw they're already the number one in the power rankings by NFL.com. It's kind of hard to disagree that because who was second? Then you got the Vikings, who barely scraped by the Giants, which I think I got to start giving the Giants a little more respect in terms of their defensive capability. But yeah, I still am just gonna give the slight edge over to the Niners right now. It's because Jalen Hurts just did so much for them. Miles Sanders was irrelevant in that game, which is the same thing you pointed out last week. It's like without Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders might not be like a fishing back. So all of a sudden, look.
Exactly. Yeah. What's interesting about the NFC is like you got the Niners third, Minnesota's second. They're 12-3. That's legit. They're in terms of like net points, which I think is an interesting stat. They're +5. How are you 12-3 and +5? How does that happen? So you said they scraped
that point
by.
Differential, right?
Yeah. So you said they scraped by over the Giants. Man, they scraped by over everyone, which makes them kind of an enigma because they beat Buffalo by 3. Like they have a good win under their belt, and the Niners don't. The Niners beat the Chargers. That's the best win they've got. Still, I think even though the Niners don't have a win like that, I think they're the best team in the NFC with Brock. If they were still rolling with Jimmy Garoppolo, I would have been like, no, I'll take Minnesota, I'll take Philly, and I'll take Dallas. I like the Dallas team this year. I mean, they have the same record as the Niners, and they're +131. The Niners are +145. So Dallas is pretty good too. And for them to put up 40 on the Eagles and put up 40 on the Vikings is pretty impressive, I would have to say.
Yeah, I mean, but most of the best teams are also in the AFC anyways, right? Who else is could the Niners be facing the NFC that'd be like, that was a good team that to face? Just literally the Eagles and the Vikings and the Cowboys, Dallas. And they can't face in the regular season. Other than that, I mean, they just faced a team that was in the playoff hunt or a wild card in the Commanders, and that we can pretty much say they're not that great of a team. They're like
it feels like average. The Niners exposed 4 teams in a row the last month, right?
Yes, they have. It's like all of them, literally all of them. I mean, or took advantage of them like the Bucks. Because the Bucks, are just so bad. That's a terrible team. It's really just like the NFC is slim pickings. It really is. Whereas like if they face anyone in the AFC, it'd be like okay, Bengals, Chiefs, Bills. That's it for the most part. But they do have other capable teams who would make like a nice little slobber knocker there. But yeah, I think you still gotta go there, and maybe the cream will eventually rise with the last 2 games remaining. I mean, it's kind of I'd be hard pressed to think the Niners are gonna lose any of these 2 games, regardless of if there's playoff seedings if there's playoff seedings at stake for them in the season finale. But I think now it's gonna have to like weed itself out. I mean, the Eagles still have to lose out before the Niners actually to get there, and then Minnesota. It's gonna be very hard to see if they're gonna make that finish to the end like that.
One thing that's intriguing about Dallas to me this year, I'm not rooting for them, but like they got T.Y. Hilton. I always liked T.Y. Hilton. I know he's older now, and he's been on the team for 1 week. He caught a 52-yard pass last week, and I think if you're matching up with the Niners and you're trying to put up points against the Niners defense, it's not freaking easy to do. I don't think so many teams have tried to dink and dunk their way down the field against the Niners defense. It doesn't work. The linebackers are too good. They're too damn good. You got to go down the field. You got to bypass the front 7 entirely. And, I mean, Dak Prescott's pretty good. T.Y. Hilton. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's not that kind of deep threat, but I'm just saying. That's what
the Commanders did basically last week.
Yeah, they were like, look, we're going to take shots. And they put up 20 points. It's the best with Taylor freaking Heineke. So I think other teams might try to do that too, unless –
the last 4 was by Carson Wentz.
I was thinking they they probably should have started him the entire time. I wasn't super impressed with Taylor Heineke, although he wasn't the problem in that game.
He definitely was not the problem. That team was just
not good enough.